Hello everybody, it's the 16th of November 2023 and I haven't made a video for a few days, but I don't know, just been too busy. Actually, I'm at the Maladozhnya metro stop. Here, I'll show you this is a sign. This is sort of like Amazon.com or something that you can order things from. 21st-vec.by. So you order it and it's like delivered a lot of time the next day. It doesn't have quite the variety of Amazon, but you know, there's another few other places. I think there's one called Wild Berries. I don't know if that's a Russian one or something like that, but they've got their versions of it here. And then of course you can order from like Made in China or Alibaba or things like that as well. You know, because they cut off Amazon. You know, they cut off everything from over here. They're trying to find some possible way to punish the people here for being born here or for living here or whatever. And all it is really, as you know, it's just trying to hurt the economy and maybe hurt the people. And you know, it's mostly that the United States is upset because over here things are starting to get much better, and they don't like that at all. You know, the United States, you know, it's the collapse. And that's what Lavrov just said in a interview I believe he made just yesterday. It's the collapse of the rules-based order, you know, which means the United States, it's virtually all the same thing. It's the hegemony, it's the unipolar world, you know, and that's all kind of collapsing now. And the United States, it's kind of like a wounded animal, you know, lashing out, and you know, they have their proxies, and all these countries are getting weaker anyway, as you all see. The West, Germany, a lot of people say, how do they describe Germany? Germany is gone. They say Germany is gone. Basically, you look at what happened, you know, you get an agent, and he's compromised, Olaf Scholz, and he had to put in agents of the USA, which is Baerbock and Habeck, and of course, they're not for Germany. I think the Germans know that, and Olaf Scholz, by proxy, you know, he's part of the United States as well. So it's just like a lot of other countries. You see all these people are just puppets, agents, whatever you want to call them, but they're for the unipolar world. Actually, there's a busy road right by here, so I'm trying to find a place to go, and I was here just a second ago. There wasn't any cars, but now there's all sorts of traffic. So, but anyway, I'll get on with the news. By the way, it snowed last night for the first time in Minsk for this year. So that's what I have to tell you as far as weather is concerned. Kak pagoda, how's the weather in Russian? Okay, Germany again. But now you see Olaf Scholz. Now that he's saying that he's going to increase the size of the German military and try to bring it up to readiness, and at the same time he's going to double the amount that Germany pays to Ukraine, you know, to kill Russians, in order to kill Russians. Obviously he's doing that at the behest of the United States, because the United States is sort of scaling down a little bit. You know, it's really something going on in the world. But they're the good guys, you know. The good guys are the ones that are always doing the killing, and that's the way it is. You know, we're living in an Orwellian world, as you all know. So, but anyway, he just comes right out and says he's increasing the size and the scope of the German military because of a future war with Russia. That's what he said. Russia doesn't want any wars, but it's very strange that it seems like maybe Germany wants a war, but actually it's the United States that wants a war. It's incredible. It makes you wonder if the United States has such a control over the system that even the next leader, whenever they're going to be ready for the war, because I doubt very much that Olaf Scholz is going to ever be reelected. I think the German people are a little bit pissed off about being a puppet state. You know, they were at least somewhat independent, quite a bit independent actually under Angela Merkel, but under Scholz, pure puppet. So why is it that there's so many people around? Maybe because it's around 1 o'clock. It seems very strange that every time I do these videos, it happens to be 1 o'clock. So let's get back to the news here. Yes, Germany was paying $2 billion a year, apparently, at least what we know of, for Ukraine, and now they're going to be increasing that to $4 billion. And I don't know, I was writing here, why don't they just, ask very nicely for Russia and Belarus to surrender their sovereignty and hand over Russia's resources. Belarus doesn't really have any resources. Belarus is just geographically in the wrong place. It's where the United States and NATO wants to put bases because it's right next door to Russia, of course. And you all know that. It's like all those countries around Iran. Everybody's showing that all the time now, these models where Iran, they just happen to put their country right in the middle of American military bases. Russia is the same way. China's going to be that way very soon. It's moving in that direction, as you all know. I guess we're supposed to all be Untermenschen. I wrote Untermenschen. But I guess Belarus and Russia refuses to be that way. As you know, they're trying to overthrow the government of Belarus, and they've come right out and said it by violent means. Lukashenko wasn't very cooperative when they tried to do it with the soft coup d'etat. And then they thought, oh gosh, we can move right in here. In 2020, they had agents. They've been working on this for a long time. It was actually, you could say, the NED, but the NED, I believe they control Radio Free Europe. And, Voice of America, everybody knows that that's a CIA thing. But in effect, it's all CIA. And it's CIA is United States. And so I just say that the United States, poor Belarusians, a lot of them don't even know that they're like that. I tell you what, it's like I had a teacher once, a German teacher. I had some German classes when I was in the university, and the teacher told us that she found out that she was doing translations, and then all of a sudden they started getting more and more military in nature, and then she realized that she was working for the CIA, so she had to end that one. But that's how they work. That's how they work things. They slowly work you into that. And they do it by proxy, so it's not like they call you up and say, hey, we're the CIA, you want to work for us? Sometimes they do, but they don't. And like I said, I've known some of these types of people already. We'll get into that. That's another topic. And but here they're doing it mostly through social media, and then you have a proxy of a proxy, so nobody can ever figure out who they're actually working for. And then if you find out, it's like, yeah, oh, that's a surprise. Most of the time, you'll never find out, of course. I guess you could call them social agent provocateurs. The expensive way is with the military. And Ukraine, they'd taken over the hearts and the minds of the people for the most part, by encouraging the Nazism, but it wasn't quite enough to get control of Russia. So they had to go on that route. And I'm not even following my notes. I should be, because I'm probably missing some things or not really saying it the right way. But you get so many puppet leaders that are fully willing to compromise their country. They really don't care about their country, a lot of these people. It's I don't know if it's based mostly on personality, or these people become compromised, like Schultz is obviously a compromised guy, and maybe even Zelensky. He's completely the opposite of what he was proposing to be when he was elected by the people. And he was elected. Zelensky was elected. There's no doubt about that. That Duda, Schultz, Zelensky, just enablers. And Biden, he plays a game too, as you all see. He's like acting like he's against the murder of all these people in Gaza, but he's probably not he himself, but the establishment that he actually is the figurehead of are the ones that are actually ordering all of that to happen. So, he has to act like he's a nice guy, at least because he's behind Trump in the polls, and he sees that most of the public opinion is in favor of the Palestinian cause rather than the mass murder of the Israelis right now. I'm sorry to say that, but I guess you could call it genocide. So it might not work for him to put Trump in jail, which he's been trying to do for quite some time. Just kind of looking around here too. I've been to this metro stop, but I haven't really gone all over the place. These are actually businesses here. I thought it was some kind of back alley. Okay. Vivic Ras Swami. He really came out in the last debates, the Republican debates, and he dropped some truth bombs. Wow. He was exposing Nikki Haley for what she really is. She is a neocon, warmonger, bloodthirsty person who made millions of dollars in the military-industrial complex. Wow, incredible. Exactly the kind of person that anybody that watches this channel is not going to want to be sitting in the presidency. Another big-time enabler, and of course this enabler for the military-industrial complex. And you know, they have the pharmaceutical industrial complex, all that sort of stuff, you know. There's all these, this is, you know, like I say, this fascism, it's fascism. It's the marriage of the, you know, the power of the government with the money situation. So I would go into that so much, I don't even want to talk about it so much right now. But now she attacked him. And because he does not like this neocon behavior, he's a sexist. So I wonder, how does that work out? But is the neocons, is that something that women started? I don't know what she's really getting at. I don't think anybody really does. Maybe it's Lindsey Graham, because a lot of people, I don't know if he's got a sex change or if he's just a homosexual, as they say, you know. And like, I don't, you know, anybody can be homosexual if they want to, you know, and he doesn't want to come out and admit it, but, you know, that's his deal, but I don't know if that's what she's getting at, why Ramaswamy is a sexist. I don't have any idea. Also, talking about women, some women in the Congo, they were, what do you say, assaulted, sexually assaulted by the World Health Organization during some time when they, you know, when they were there for the Ebola sort of a deal. And so the World Health Organization has to pay reparations to some of these women, a big whopping $250 each. Wow, I think they're going to go buy a house, you know. Can they go buy a house for $250 for being sexually assaulted by these guys? And none of these guys lost their jobs either, you know, the article also stated. Incredible. Also, something else in the news. I'm going to just kind of jump in and out a little bit, talking about news about Israel, of course, and Ukraine, you know, the big subjects of the day. So Israel has now started segregating the assets belonging to the Russians in Israeli banks, of course, for the purpose of freezing those assets. And of course, this is directed by Brussels, supposedly. And even if some of these people have dual citizenship, Russia and Israeli citizenship, it makes you wonder, you know, Israel can defy the United States, at least we're made to believe, but they cannot defy doing some illegal behavior by some foreign bank or some foreign banking entity in Europe, and they're not even a part of Europe. So, you know, it's really strange, isn't it? That tells you something. Maybe they're not really that happy with Russia saying that they're in favor of a two-state solution between the Palestinians and the Israelis. No questions asked, you know. They just go ahead and do whatever the bank tells them to do. And a Brussels bank. Wow, isn't that something? So, some girls looking at me there. Happens all the time, guys. No, I guess not, though. But there's overwhelming evidence that Israel had so much to do with this attack on the 7th, and if not most of it, of course. And a CNN reporter was asking Benjamin Netanyahu about it. Benjamin Netanyahu, he said that question is best left till after it's all over, you know, after he's wiped out the Palestinians. I'll show you, there's some cars with some of the snow on it. The Chinese vehicle here. You see? Can't you read that? Can't you read what that says? Geely or something. Chinese. I don't know. Maybe it's the model. See? Some snow right there. See? See? Okay. Yes, they're waiting till Palestine gets put into ruins, and then he's going to say, okay, well, yeah, I guess we did something wrong there. But I don't know. Nothing's going to happen, as you know. Masters of the universe are in control of everything. And because of these protests for the Palestinians, they're much bigger than the pro-Israel. Trump was telling that Benjamin Netanyahu, well, he didn't tell him personally, he told him in a message on video when he was being recorded that they have to up their PR game. And that's exactly what they did. It was just like the next day, the very next day. So they're improving their PR. So the next day Israel started, they magically found a copy of Mein Kampf, in, where was that? It was in some Hamas arms depot. Magically. And it looks like it's brand new. They showed it on the photo, and it was like a brand new copy. It looks like they just got it out of the store. Isn't that incredible? People having to run all over the place. And of course they left it behind. They also showed photos of raped women and raped and murdered. And they said it was from October 7th. And it just turns out that those photos were on the internet before October 7th. Very strange. And it comes from some different part of the world, some different country. But yet, I wonder how maybe, I'll tell you what, Hamas went back in time. They got the flux capacitor, they went back in time, and they did that, and they said, we're making make-believe that you guys are Israelis. So that's why Israel can say that. They can say that they did this, they raped and murdered these women. And then they showed an elevator shaft and said, see? It's like that elevator shaft could be anywhere. It could be in New York, it could be in Australia, it could be anywhere. They said, see? That's, because there was some kind of a metal ladder in there, and then they showed some room, and I don't even know if they connected it. I don't know if it was from a video or something, but anyway, that's where hospital staff would go, I guess when they were sheltering from the bombings or something like that. They found no weapons, they found nothing that had anything to do with Hamas, but yet see, this is where, Hamas had weapons, and they didn't even show any weapons, It's very strange. They showed some worn out chairs and some worn out table and who knows what. Nothing that's anything compromising. It makes you wonder, why didn't they put some guns there or something? Some explosives. It's like the United States. Remember when they said weapons of mass destruction and they went into Iraq? Why didn't they just even plant some and say, see, this is from Iraq, see? But they didn't even plant any. I mean, talk about incompetent bad guys. And there are other things. There was jerry cans of fuel. I think that was below a hospital. They had these jerry cans of fuel. Very strange that was just the day after Israel supposedly gave some fuel, showing how nice they are, gave some fuel to the Palestinians in Gaza. And somehow they got it. But anyway, they were just jerry cans. They could be empty, or they could fill them with water. But they're trying to say that Hamas had these full jerry cans full of fuel while babies in incubators died in the hospital on the above floors as Hamas had fuel down in the basement. I mean, this is really some crazy. I mean, they must think everybody is stupid, But I guess maybe that's why they didn't have a very good PR game. I should tell Trump, because they can't do it very well. I don't know. I mean, there's other ways to make fake things. Look at how those people were with those white helmets guys, saying that who was it? Assad was gassing his own people. At least that kind of looked believable, even though nothing is provable anyway. It could have even been done 5 years before that. All this stuff is just incredible, how they show us something and we're all supposed to go, ooh, ah, yeah, oh, you're right. Now we're on your side. Yeah, and then they showed some boxes, and it had in huge letters from a printer, medical supplies. And they took photos of that, Israel, and they said, see, we're delivering these things to the people in Gaza. See how nice of people we are? This is just unbelievable. Anybody can take a box and print something from a printer that says medical supplies, stick it on the box, photograph it, and say, see, we're bringing in medical supplies. I mean, that's incredible. Now, is that what you do? Is that what you do when you have medical supplies? Is you go to a printer and you put medical supplies on there? I'm telling you. Most people would just take a magic marker or something like that and write it on the box or something, you know. And they wouldn't make it from a huge piece of paper in huge lettering and say medical supplies. It's like, I don't know, are the people there that are unloading the stuff, are they blind? I mean, you could see this stuff literally from 50 meters away. Medical supplies. I guess that's for the cameras. And why was it written in English anyway? Why wasn't it written in Hebrew or Palestinian language, like, or Arabic or whatever? I don't know. Well, very strange, isn't it, huh? But the Ukrainians, they're much better at this. I don't know why, but the Ukrainians, from the very beginning of the military operation, they've been the experts, such experts in PR. And now they have a new bad guy that did the Nord Stream pipeline thing. What's his name? His name is, and I should have underlined it, Colonel Roman Chervinsky. And this guy has no experience in doing any kind of sabotage work or nothing like that. Nothing to do with divers, nothing like that. But yet he's the bad guy. And it's really convenient. This guy's already in prison. But it comes out at just a time, you know, that they found the real bad guy at a time when they're thinking about replacing Zelensky with Zaluzhny, who was the bad guy before, at least. But I guess they just got that one wrong, you know. And all that evidence that proved definitively that Zaluzhny was the one that did it. And now, well, maybe it wasn't Zaluzhny, maybe it's this other guy, you know. I don't know if you can make this stuff up. It's incredible. Well, let me show you this over here. I'm at a kind of a train station here. See, there's some building in the background, 2 big cranes, I don't know. What they're building there, I have no idea. So what else do we have here? A U.S. Republican leader claims that, just like I've been saying, that Israel, but he said inadvertently killed all those other Israelis, you know? And it's strange that not even Lavrov has been mentioning that when he was talking to, just today, or was it yesterday? I think it was today, by the way. He was talking today about, to RT, and he didn't even mention the fact that most of these Israelis were killed by the Israelis, and I've been putting that out, I think, every video since that happened. And now they have a leader of the Republican Party, somebody, I didn't catch his name, but he's claiming that Israel did this by accident, and because of bad intelligence and the chaos of the moment. So anyways, at least somebody is admitting, you know, that happened. Of course, like I just said, that Benjamin Netanyahu, he said, well, let's just wait till after this whole thing is over, and then we'll investigate that. Gives us time to think of a good, I mean, that we have more information, that, you know, or who knows what. Some guy back here, I don't know, he was asking me for the time. He got himself some nice new shoes, so I don't know why he's hanging out around here. So we're finding out more and more that the global taxpayers, mostly the Americans, at least everybody says the Americans, but like I said, since the US dollar is the world's reserve currency, everybody has to pay for these weapons that are going, at least when it's coming from the United States, everybody's paying for these weapons that are getting sent to Ukraine free of charge, at least free of charge for the government, but not free of charge for everyone else, myself included, by the way. All the rest of us countries that do not have a world's reserve currency, of course, we have to earn the money or pay it back in time in real numbers. And of course, the United States, you know, they just make everybody else pay it back. That's how you could afford to have pallets full of money, pallets filled with $100 bills wrapped in plastic when they found those in Afghanistan and Iraq, by the way, at the airports there, the military airports. Can you imagine having a whole pallet, a whole entire pallet up to your chest filled with $100 bills? And really makes you wonder where this money went to. I mean, just that pallet alone, I wonder how much money that is. I don't know. That's a few $100,000, well, no, that's a lot more than that. few $100 million. If it's $100 bills, I don't know. Okay. So anyway, Germany is also, and at least they're admitting it. Even Germany and France are admitting that they're sending free of charge weapons, and a lot of that they expect to get back, at least the newer models, from the United States. Like send some F-16s if they have them laying around, and send some F-35s to replace them. South Africa, they're considering cutting off ties with Israel, which is a big deal when you think about it, because the biggest friends of Israel normally have been South Africa. And for some reason, Israel has been sort of helping South Africa for the most part. I guess they're the beneficiary of South Africa, like gave them some kind of nuclear secrets and things like that in the past. But and the foreign minister of South Africa, she came out and did a speech, and that was pretty scathing about Israel. Israel has even come out and said they found no weapons. There's another hospital. They bombed so many hospitals. I don't even keep track of all of these things. Every day it's a couple hospitals, and sometimes one is more in the news than the other. There was one, this Al-Shifa hospital. They at least came out and admitted when they bombed that one, they said they found no weapons, which is very strange. Normally they'll plant something. They do that to Palestinians. I tell you what, in some of these terrible films, like there's some older guy, a very likable guy. Everybody loved this guy. He's an older man. He's probably, I don't know if he's older than me. I don't know if anybody is, but 23 years old. Anyway, this guy, they have pictures of him talking to Israeli soldiers, and then they have photos of him dead in a pool of blood where they killed him. He's an old guy, overweight. Actually, I think he's older than me, but he's obviously, he doesn't even move anything like me. I think he's maybe had a rougher life. I don't know if he's older. His face, he didn't look that much older, but I think he moved him a lot slower. But they just killed him. They used him for a PR photo, which is what they said, and then they killed him afterwards for no reason whatsoever. Because he was a nice guy and talking to them and all that. A lot of sick stuff. A lot of other sick things I won't even talk about, and you guys all know what they are. Just imagine the sickest thing you can think of, and that's what's going on down there in Gaza. Man, I should mention too, Tulsi Gabbard, apparently I saw on Jimmy Dore, he's been having some really good stuff out. I'm surprised that they're not taking him down off of YouTube, but he's even mentioning that Tulsi Gabbard, somebody I really liked, maybe still do, but I don't know. I didn't see officially what she said, but apparently she's on the side of Israel and what they're doing, apparently. Like I said, I'm not going to say that 100% yet, definitively, because I didn't see what she had to say. But I couldn't be on the side of any kind of government that's doing that sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe she's on the side of Project Israel. I don't know. But a lot of time when you hear this sort of thing, even somebody like Tulsi Gabbard, these are politicians. A lot of time they run for positions of, somewhere, and they have donors, and you sort of are a puppet of your donor, and that's, like I said, that's one of the negatives of a sort of a fascist kind of a system, is because you're like a puppet of what your donors want you to do, because they're the ones that give you the money to run for these public offices. And that's how that is. Comes this guy with the new shoes again. I don't know. I'll have to try to cut this short if I can. Also in that hospital, they found no weapons. They also blew up, apparently Israel blew up a storage area with medical equipment and medicines, and they blew it up. They're just a bunch of nice guys, I guess. Also out in the news, Russia's unemployment rate is at a historic lowest, 3%, which is half of that of what the European Union has. I guess it's 6%, at least that's what they say. But you remember that a lot of these Western countries, I don't know about Russia, I really don't, but a lot of these Western countries, they finagle with the numbers, and of course the unemployment rate is actually a lot higher than what they state. You know, they find these different ways to figure out what the unemployment rate is. Like the United States, they might even say it's 3% when it's actually like 18% unemployed. I don't know. I haven't been to the States for a while, but that's what they do. You guys all know that stuff. Look at people like Peter Schiff or anybody else, and they'll show that to you, how they finagle with the numbers. Elon Musk, oh boy. He called Zelensky a butcher, and then he had to take that back, and he said he's worse than a butcher because he's sending his own people to the meat grinder. It's incredible. He said Zelensky would be better. You know, he's still not good, but he's better. I don't know. He didn't say he's still not good. He said he's better, but I don't know if Elon Musk knows that Zelensky is also a doting Banderite. He liked Bandera, who massacred people. But I'll tell you what, that's the worst part about Bandera, at least. You know, he was a nationalist. And if Zelensky is not into massacring people, maybe when you exclude that part of Bandera, I don't know, maybe, because that's the overriding worst thing about Bandera. He massacred people. I don't know anything else about him. Otherwise, he's just a nationalist, maybe. Mm-hmm. And Jimmy Dore, let's see, where am I at here? Jimmy Dore, he put up that video stating of what it's really about, what's going on in Gaza, what it's really all about in Gaza. And I knew about this quite some time ago, and a lot of wars are fought because of minerals, because of oil, gas, pipelines, things like that. Like Pepe Escobar, he wrote that book called Pipelinistan, talking about the Caspian area, why the United States is over there, trying to buddy with these people and putting in military bases in all these stands because of pipelines. Anyway, that's a whole book, and I've talked about that before, so let's not mention that now. But apparently there's a huge amount of gas right off the coast of Gaza. Already Israel has taken out $47 billion worth of natural gas from that area. And they estimate that there's at least 453 billion more, I don't know if it was dollars, or a lot of natural gas, or a lot of money. And of course there's other areas. There's the Golan Heights that has a lot of mineral wealth as well. And there are parts of the Golan Heights that are sort of difficult to access. And that's one reason for the war in Syria as well. Is because of a pipeline, and they wanted the United States through Genie Oil, which is, I guess who was leading the board was Dick Cheney at that time, but also was Rupert Murdoch and some other people, and they want to run a pipeline from the Golan Heights through Syria, and of course Assad didn't like that, and it was supposed to go into Turkey as a gas hub to feed natural gas into Europe. And Russia didn't really like that either, because at that time there was the Nord Stream running through there, and most of the gas in Europe was coming from Russia. And so they decided, well, we're going to help Syria out a little bit here so that the United States doesn't completely destroy Syria and then run their gas pipeline, because Genie Oil, I believe, is an American company, even though there's a lot of multinationals involved in that. There's a lot of these big wigs that are part of the board of Genie Oil, or Genie Petroleum, and that was, of course, a major reason for this war in Syria. Like I said, well, here comes a train. The train. It looks like a regional train. Okay, there's an investigative reporter talking about what's going on in Syria as well. It's her name is Vanessa Beeley, and she's mentioning that the United States is very much increasing their attacks on Syria, on Syrian forces. And of course, they've reactivated their proxy military, which is known as ISIS. And a lot of people, of course, believe the original ISIS, ISIS, is Israeli Secret Intelligence Services. And of course there's even a logo for that. It says it right on there. But that's back from the old days. I don't know if this ISIS is a new one, this Islamic State or whatever like that, which is very strange because a lot of these people from this Islamic State, there's some of them, I don't even think they speak Arabic, but a lot of them just speak English. Everybody knows that sort of a thing, I guess if you're in that area. And it's just like Al-Qaeda, I guess. You tell somebody that we've labeled as Al-Qaeda, they've never heard of Al-Qaeda. I think in Arabic that means the toilet, something like that, I don't know. Would you name your terrorist group the toilet? Ooh, that's going to put fear into the hearts of men. But Vanessa Beeley, yeah, she's talking about that in the Syrian forces now. She said the worst part about all of this is apparently there's now being some clashes directly between Syrian forces and US forces. And in the big skirmish before, that didn't happen. But I suppose that's going on a little bit now. So there's a chance that this could really escalate into something very big. And that's something to watch. And the United States, apparently, I don't know, part of this might be, at least I've been recognizing, I don't know about the rest of you, but it's like the US is desperate to get into some sort of a war, and Russia is, of course, far too powerful for them. And China, of course, is as well. And the United States, by proxy, they're already getting their, ass kicked in Ukraine. And of course, now they're looking for a way to get out of that and save face. Maybe like Afghanistan, like they did there. I don't know. Yeah. But the United States already, people looking at me, it's incredible. They already say that they own that part of Syria. I think it was somebody from the State Department, some lady that's in charge of down there. Don't know her name. It wasn't Victoria Nuland, of course. But some lady down there said, "We own that. That's ours." It's the richest part of Syria. It's the best agriculture. It's where most all the minerals are, and all that sort of thing. It's all the best. All the best of Syria is in that area. That's where all the wealth of Syria is at, and that's what the United States controls. And Assad, of course, is trying to kick them out of there, but good luck on that one. I don't know, maybe they're doing it. That's what these attacks, and a lot of these attacks on these American bases in Syria, they're from irregulars or militants that are coming from Iraq, I guess. And I don't know what they're doing in Syria, but that's what's going on there. And I was going to talk a little bit about that interview that was with Lavrov, with RT, and he's talking about geopolitics. And I think a lot of what he's talking about is that he's highlighting the decline of the rules-based order, like I mentioned already earlier, and the awakening of Africa. The United States, they eliminated Gaddafi, and they thought, oh, now it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy pickings. Easy pickings, not slim pickings, easy pickings, that they're going to really take over Africa. Then they, as you know, there was Germany, by public pressure, was telling the United States that they want their gold back. I think the government at that time of Merkel, she didn't really care, and maybe she's a little bit afraid, because a lot of people, they think that the United States maybe doesn't have that much gold, and that's a whole big scam anyway. So the United States, and I think, was that before that or right after that, they had to, they repatriated their gold from France, and then I guess they got half of it back from the United States. Turns out it wasn't the same gold that Germany sent there. It was a much lower quality gold. And isn't that strange that they got their gold back from France and half from America? And isn't it strange that France and America were the ones that invaded Mali, which is one of the biggest gold-rich countries in Africa? So, surprise, surprise. They thought they would devastate Africa by getting rid of Gaddafi. Gaddafi had a lot of dreams. He was doing a lot of things for Africa. And I don't know, it slowed it down somewhat, but I don't know, you can't keep a good man down, I guess they say. One way, it looks like, I don't know if it's probably some sort of a future sort of a thing that the United States, a future way to start a confrontation of some sorts with Africa, or at least to weaken Africa, is they're now putting in medical labs, you know, similar to the medical lab they had in Wuhan. I wonder what that's all about. You know that. As I just mentioned before, you know, we were talking, at least I was talking about these World Health Organization people there, and you know, they had to pay a whopping $250 to each woman that they sexually assaulted there in Africa and the Congo area. So, well, I don't know if they can afford that, but anyway, that's what they did. They paid all that money out, $250 US. So, I don't know why that truck even came there if he's just going to back right out again, try to drive out. So, well, they had Ebola in Africa, you know, and I don't know what they're going to bring now. There's all kinds of fevers, and of course, Billy Gates, he was there, and he was, what was he inoculating people against there? But of course, it ended a lot of lives, you know, just like what happened in India when he inoculated a lot of people with his vaccines, and they, you know, polio vaccines, and those people aren't walking around anymore. Thanks to old Billy. He wants to save lives, he said. Actually, I got to be careful about talking like this kind of stuff, because I've been censored very badly in the past from talking about these sort of subjects. So, another thing Lavrov was asking with this interview, he says, so let's talk about, let's find out how much safer for democracy are all of these places that the United States invaded, like Libya and Iraq and Syria and all these kind of places. Are they all safe for democracy right now? Ukraine. How democratic is Ukraine? There's some guy, where did he go? He must have turned around and went back the other way. Oh no, there he is. He was walking towards me. I thought he disappeared. I guess the United States, maybe they're going to also help out with Israel getting more gas from Gaza. But anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's geopolitics. Lavrov, of course, always interesting to listen to, just like Maria Zakharova. You get a lot more true information from these people than you do from Blinken or Kirby or any of these jokers from the United States. So, what need I say more? Anyway, our podcast, that's going to be going pretty soon. I mean, live streams and all that sort of thing. Maybe tomorrow or the next day, I'm supposed to be going and finding out where it's actually going to be. And apparently next week it's probably going to be kicking off. Anyway, can't see me, I'm in the dark here. Anyway, the man in charge of doing this, his name is Dave. He's going to be on the Aussie Cossack show. I don't know if he's going to be seen, or maybe it's going to, maybe just by voice. I don't know how it's going to be on there, but it's going to be on Saturday. So if you see the Aussie Cossack show on Saturday, it will be the guy that's going to be running the brains behind the operation of our live streams that we're going to be having here from Minsk. So you might want to join him there. Okay, that's about all I have to say right now, and I thank you all for joining me, and I don't know, maybe in a couple days I'll put up another video. Sorry for the delay this time again. So again, thanks for joining me. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.